Hello, everybody. I'm Steven Sorensen with Smartling. I'm here today to talk about the Smartling integrations, and I'm going to be joined by Dmitry Studinsky. It looks like he's still trying to sign in here. Let's give him just a second. Well, maybe while he's waiting, we're going to...
Just in case I'm here,
You are
sorry,
here.
it's probably...
Okay.
you don't see me, yeah, but all this time I'm here. Hi, guys.
Okay. Great. We're here today to talk about the Smartling integration update. So I'm Steven Sorensen, a product manager, and I get the pleasure of working with many of you on a regular basis with the integration products that we offer. I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have fresh snow today as of last night, kind of crazy mid-April, but I'm doing good here. And Dmitry is my counterpart on the engineering team. So Dmitry, do you want to take a minute and introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Dmitry Studinsky. I'm in New York on the East Coast. Yeah, work a long time stay a long time with a Smartling, and yeah, will assist Steven today.
Great, thank you. And yeah, just to tell you a little bit more about Dmitry, he's definitely someone I lean on every day. We work every day together and meet every day and talk about new challenges all of you bring to us. And I can't think of a better person to spend every day with working on these challenges. He's very smart and very bright and brings a lot to our team. So of all those things we work on, we can mention a lot of things. There's always new stuff, but we're going to walk you through a couple of things today. One is going to be the integrations over time, kind of how we've evolved our integration strategy and how we've developed new integrations and kind of how those have bucketed together. And then we'll take a look more at some new updates. We have some new connectors, updates to existing connectors, and we'll spend some time going through that. So that being said, let's start with this integrations over time and go back to the very beginning of Smartling and when we built our first integrations. And Dmitry, can you tell us a little bit about maybe what our first integration was?
Yeah, our first integration, Sitecore and Adobe AM were our first integrations, and it was back in 2013. And at the time, they were the most fully featured enterprise CMS. And we had pioneered localization integrations. We have not seen any successful examples of other TMS integrations. Even the presence of an API was not the standard at the time.
Right. So those are big CMS products, Adobe Experience Manager and Sitecore. And so I think that kind of highlights, our first section of integrations and certainly our most popular section of integrations, which would be these content management systems. We develop these all the time. They're the highest requested new type of integration we get because these are the most important to customers. These are where they create the most content. The most valuable content needs to be translated accurately. It produces revenue. So this is really high valuable content. And this is why we see the most requests coming from content management systems. The simple throughput here needs to be high. Like it's just so much volume of words getting created in these systems. It just really needed to create new products to be able to support that. So Dmitry, when we first started these building integrations, can you tell us some of the challenges you experienced with Adobe Experience Manager versus Sitecore, or you have some others here, WordPress and Drupal, I know are very popular early on. Can you tell us maybe some of the challenges you ran into working, with each of these products, how they were different, how they were the same?
Yeah, sure. So we're working with open source products and also proprietary software that were very different in how they approach translations. And all translation for these platforms were happening within the platform. Sorry about that. And you have to create, invite all of these project manager, translators, linguists to work within the platform. And you have to manage all of these accounts, do trainings. And the only other alternative was to export content as a file and manually upload that into a CAT tool or TMS for translation. And when translation is completed, you have to import it back in the CMS for each language, which is error-prone way.
Right. So the old school ways of working with content management systems and translations, it didn't support it well. There wasn't great products for taking it out of the system and putting it back in. And it was really just an opportune time. It really ripe for innovation and ripe for these integration products to be able to keep up with the need that the customers have in creating this high valuable content. So this is our first section. Where would you say we started next? Once we kind of got our foot in the door with some of these real popular content management systems, what would you feel like the next section really that became popular?
It was marketing automation, such as HubSpot and Marketo. We had a lot of requests to integrate with this specifically because of their popularity in the market at the time.
Okay. So, okay, great. So if any, that's great. We'll move into the marketing automation. And I think if anybody has questions on content management systems, feel free to let us know. But marketing automation is certainly where high value content lives too. This is outbound communications to your customers, trying to bring them into your community to do something, whether it's to buy something or share something with them. So this is high value content as well. We didn't see as big of a need right out the gate because there wasn't, the people start with their web content, and that's really the initial place they start translating. So as we started solving some of those problems and innovating there, we definitely needed to recreate that similar experience inside of the marketing automation section. So Dmitry, can you tell us, when we started developing integrations for this type of content, it was very different than what we experienced in CMS. And I know you're very familiar with that. Can you share with us a little bit about some of the differences you've seen?
Sure. The big difference between marketing automation and CMS is that these marketing tools were not designed for translation. They didn't have translation features or support storing translations. And even modern marketing solutions lack such support. So you weren't able to add Smartling UI directly into these products. And this means that we had to develop additional software that allowed us to host our own UI that would then interact with these tools via API only.
Right. So that's where we basically created our hosted integrations. We had to come up with a way to create UI, the selection process. These tools didn't allow us to add our own UI into them. So we had to come up with a way where we could create UI to allow you to request translation, see all your content, put it into a job, and then be able to deliver it to that system once the translations are finished in a way that makes sense to store the content, etc. So I think, marketing automation was, very big for us. I would say it's still, high value content and so forth. So moving forward, I think the next, section we wanted to talk about was around software localization. So also, this is a very popular need here for customers. A lot of our customers are using one of our integrations around software localization. And this content is extremely high value. It's also in many ways harder to get right from a context perspective than some of the other content. You have shorter strings, less volume of strings, less context to tell you about what's going on. But we're also working with a different type of people here. Like, we're working with developers that are overseeing this. And oftentimes, when we first started, they would maybe have created their own custom solution to automate and send this stuff for translation, or they wrote some scripts to do something. So they've always been able to work kind of around this need, this requirement. That's why I think, we focused heavily on marketing stuff early on. But we do have two integrations here that support software localization, and we foresee this always being a need for our customers. We have the repo and the GitHub connector, and those have some specific unique differences. And so, Dmitry, can you share with us some of the differences on these two?
Yeah, so for repo connector, it was our first integration. It provides basic integration for SVN and Git repositories, and it can work with a wide range of repositories like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and others. And the GitHub connector is designed specifically for GitHub repositories. First of all, it uses the GitHub API, and it has a tight integration with the pull requests. It is actually the best choice if you use GitHub for development.
Nice. Okay, great. So that's a little bit about our software localization products. If you have more questions, let us know there as well. The next section we move into is stuff we categorize under support tools. And these are going to be, lower value content, not meaning it's not important, but you're not going to be willing to potentially spend as much money to raise the quality of this and make sure it's the highest quality. Maybe some examples you might. It's kind of a mixed bag of needing to use lower machine translation, for example, to lower costs. It gives you more flexibility, but generally speaking, customers don't translate this stuff first. They translate marketing stuff, they translate their code, their apps, and then as they want to support their user base, as they start to grow and expand into these new markets, you need to be able to support those different customers you have, whether that's self-help, chat, or emails, or various ticketing mechanisms. So all of these integrations that we foresee being developed here are really support oriented. So one of the first things, so Dmitry, maybe we can start with, can you tell us, how is this working with this tool, support tool, Zendesk, for example, how has that been different than working with, CMS products we've seen in the past as we compare those?
Yeah, our first knowledge-based system that we integrated with was Zendesk. It was easily the most requested support system that we were being asked about. And this actually worked very similar to CMS and marketing automation products. And we were able to leverage much of what we have learned building our hosted integrations and easily apply them to a knowledge-based system.
Right. So one thing that we see customers doing a lot with these is, as I mentioned, is using machine translation. And oftentimes that's because we run into a lot more user-generated content here that you're not, you want a quick translation turnaround. Earlier on the session with Monet's and Eve, she talked about the Zendesk ticket translation connector that we have. And this specifically is to help support organization that speaks one language, be able to support, multiple languages from that same team by automatically, translating tickets, for example. Maybe I'll let Dmitry explain exactly what's going on there in the use case around the Zendesk ticket translation.
Sure. Zendesk tickets are actually perfect use case for machine translation because it allows real-time communication between clients. An example, a customer can send a new support ticket into Zendesk in German, and our integration will detect the source language, and it will then perform machine translation on it. And our English-speaking agent can understand the request from the customer. And then our agent can draft a response, and our integration will automatically translate the response back into German and send public reply to the customer. And there is no delay, no manual copy and paste in the translator. So right. It's like a...
So it's enabling of communication from that one speaking team that only speaks one language to be able to communicate with all various customers that they may have in other languages, in their native language. So this is just one example of how machine translation can be used on user-generated content and so forth. The next section we're going to look at is going to be around something that's become more popular lately in the last couple of years is working with these creative design tools. And I know, it's forever we've worked with, InDesign and various things and using desktop publishing and all of that to continue translation. And all of that still applies, but we've seen a lot more need to work with some of the more, prototyping tools or tools to create UI, such as Figma and Sketch. And so as we created and kind of learned more about what people were needing there's kind of an overlap here. Some of these tools really work with software localization, and they fit into the software localization process. And some of these tools are more for creating assets, brochures, various things like some of the Adobe products. That being said, we do see these tools being important moving forward because many customers, with the creative design, for example, have wanted to change the way that they do software localization. They've wanted to actually start translations earlier before, in the design process, rather than waiting for the full development to get finished. So these tools are very important to us. We're going to continue to expand and add, features to these and add new products to these as we need. But if you have any questions on those, please let us know. So looking at kind of the full circle here of these integrations, we can see we have quite a few different categories. We do get requests for different types of integrations that don't fall into this. And they're not, we do custom stuff. So we always are getting requests from all over the place, but these are the general categories that we work in, and we can offer more integrations. And so if you have any questions on these, let us know. Now, moving forward, we're going to move into some, more frequent, later updates that we've had to some of our existing integrations. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be the Marketo integration. So as many of you know, we've worked with Marketo for a good amount of time now. We've had an integration for years. The big thing about this is, the Marketo integration is just, it's older. It's on our old UI, and there's some other challenges. Maybe Dmitry, can you tell us, why are we rewriting this now versus enhancing the existing one?
Yeah, sure. It was one of our first integration, and it was built on a legacy architecture. And this has led us to limitations such as difficult to add new features, and it uses Smartling legacy UI, and probably most important, missing features such as Smartling job support.
Great. So yeah, so basically we're here to announce that we have a brand new Marketo integration. We've rewritten this one to be on our latest code base. It's going to have all of the new features that some of our newer hosted integrations have, like job support, bulk actions and various things like that. So let's see. So Dmitry, one of the other big things here that people really wanted was around dynamic content. And dynamic content was one of the main reasons why we decided to rewrite this connector. Can you tell us a little real quickly why is dynamic content important and how will it work here?
Yeah, dynamic content is a cool feature. So dynamic content is about personalization, and in Marketo it is done with segmentation. Like you can categorize your audience into different subgroups, and these groups are called actually segments. And an example, you can categorize by industry and call your segments as a healthcare, technology, financial. And for different segments, you can add dynamic content blocks into your landing pages or emails. And this tells Marketo that you want this piece of content to be different depending on who is viewing it. And actually, we have met with many of our clients to understand how they use segmentation today and how translation should work. The results are implemented in the new Marketo integration.
Great. So we will be working with customers to, migrate a couple of them over initially and test out things, make sure they work good. And then we'll be working with all of our Marketo customers to migrate them over to the new connector to take advantage of it. So please be looking forward to hearing from us on that. Moving forward, working with our existing integration, Content Stack, who has been a very good partner for us and a really popular integration, lots of success here. This integration is a hosted integration. And one of the main things that was missing here is, in all integrations that are hosted, there's no UI that sits inside a content stack. So in this hosted integration, it's great for localization managers and translation users that are in our platform, but not everybody, really wants to go into our platform all the time to be able to request a translation or even to just check translation status on an entry, for example. So we've created a new integration, essentially, not a new integration, an enhancement to our integration that it's an app, and this app is a content stack app that sits inside a content stack, and it ties together with our hosted integration. So they have to be used together. But this app allows you to go in within content stack, open up an entry, and then be able to see the translation status for that entry, and then be able to even understand which languages have been selected, which ones haven't been selected. And the initial release is going to be based on Content Stack's new marketplace that they're launching in May. So we're working early with them as an early partner to get a new app available on their new marketplace to help them with that. And essentially, this is going to be UI that sits inside a content stack that gives you translation visibility. And in the future, in the subsequent release, we're going to add the request translation process directly from that widget as well. So you can request translations from content stack. So it'll be kind of a hybrid connector where you can work directly within Smartling for all of the big kind of bulk selection things you need to do. And then you'll also have this extension app that sits inside a content stack. Dmitry, I think let's have you kind of explain a little bit about this slide. And this is a screenshot of what the app looks like. Maybe you can tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, this in our initial release, we will add a new sidebar in the content stack that allows these users to determine the translation status of a given entry. So you see there is a list of languages and their statuses. The content stack user can quickly see what languages have been requested already for translation, or find out what is blocking delivery translations back.
Right. Great. So thanks for that. Just a real quick announcement as well is we're going to have a follow-up webinar with Content Stack to share a little bit more about this app. Shivani over there at Content Stack, I'll be meeting with her, and we'll be talking about the new application. Moving forward, we want to talk about real quickly our Epi server, also known as Optimizely now. So real quick note, initial integration we developed this was supporting CMS and commerce in Optimizely Epi server, but they've made some up changes. They've made a brand new release out, and so we've had to upgrade our connector to work with the latest release. So that's now available as well. Moving forward, let's take a look at the Smartling and Contentful integration. So as many of you know, we've had an integration with Contentful, a very successful integration. And that integration is not going anywhere. We've just had to, some customers have come to us and basically explain to us that Contentful allows you to store content in different ways, two main different ways. One is what they call field level translations and what they call entry level translations. And so our connector has always worked with what we call field level translations, and entry level translations is less popular, but it's still out there. So we've actually developed a new integration that supports contentful entry based translation storage. So if you have questions on that or what it does, let us know. We're happy to jump on and dive through it with you. Also, like I said, this doesn't impact the existing Contentful integration that's still there. It's not going anywhere. We'll continue to enhance that and support that as needed as well. It's just another version of the connector, essentially. Let's move forward now and jump into the new highlights section. So the first kind of thing I wanted to mention here is we've been working with a product that's been on the market for a while called Mindtouch, and this is now called they were acquired by a company called Nice. And essentially, it's a customer engagement platform for like knowledge bases or product documentation. It just allows you to create a way to engage your customers and provide support for them. So in working with this, let's kind of open this up here. And this, the Mindtouch connector, Mindtouch has an existing way of exporting content and then translating it. But it was, it missed a lot of stuff. And so maybe Dmitry, I'll let you take a minute here and explain to us what our new connector does.
Yeah, so Mindtouch was a challenge for us. This platform has a different localization approach and unique API, and we applied a lot of effort to keep feature set consistent with our existing integrations.
Great. So yes, Mindtouch is our newest connector, and we have a couple of customers already on it. So if you have any questions on that, please let us know and we'll answer those for you. Let's move forward. Another announcement I wanted to make is we have a new plugin that is just about to release for Adobe Photoshop. And we have had, for those of you that have been with us well, we know we have a little plugin for Photoshop already that allows you to export content into an XML file and then take that XML file and upload it to Smartling. You can translate it and get all your translated files and then go and import those back into the plugin. And what we were missing there is a direct integration. So you don't have to work with the files. You can actually check translation status, kind of like how our Figma and Sketch integrations work, our plugins for that. So using those as kind of our prototype, we went ahead and created a Photoshop plugin. And this plugin will be ready very soon. We're actually going through a kind of a QA cycle on it now and fixing some bugs. And then we will be releasing that on the Adobe Creative Cloud. So if you guys, we'll let you go. We'll make an announcement when this is ready, but it's coming very soon. And this will allow you to basically take a Adobe Photoshop design and send it directly to our system. And we will translate all of the content, put it back into Photoshop and allow you to kind of see the new generated file, the translated file. So if you have any questions on that, please let us know. Let's move forward here. So, kind of looking at our circle of integrations, we can add the couple more to the list now. We have Mindtouch and Photoshop. And essentially that's, that's our presentation today. So let's jump into some questions here real quick and take a look. And is there any questions? Let's see. So question for you, Dmitry, how difficult would it be to transition from a repo connector to the GitHub connector?
Okay, well, yeah, they use a little bit different approach. So Git a repo connector doesn't work with a pull request. So again, it mostly depends on your business process, how you would like to translate your resource files as part of your development process. So if you already use a GitHub, like a pull request, code review, then it will be really easy to use a GitHub connector. If you use if you, an example, do code review outside of GitHub, or you don't use GitHub, then probably repo connector will be the best choice. And we still see large enterprise clients with SVN. In this case, only repo connector will be applicable.
All right. Next question. Which integration connectors do you have on the roadmap? So I guess the one that I can share right now comfortably is going to be with a system called Koros, which is a platform to engage your community. It used to be called Lithium, so it's now been rebranded as Koros. And this basically, we're building an integration, and it has different aspects to it. One would be like the discussion boards or the forum boards within Koros will be where we'll start our initial development, and that will be for machine translation to support multi-source use. It'll be a multi-source to multi-source environment where you have users communicating on a forum board that all speak different languages, and allowing it auto translates everybody's message so they can read each other's messages. So that would be the initial part we'll start, and then we'll also add in support for their tribal knowledge base articles, along with their blogs and some of the other stuff that they have support in there as well. That's the one I'm comfortable communicating at. We have some others that we've wanted to build for a while, and we're just not sure exactly when we'll line them up. It just depends on priorities at the time as we move forward. So that's another question. Next question, let's see. We got about 2 minutes here. So are there any connectors for Tridion Docs and SAP Hybris? So no, they're not. There are no integrations for those at this point. Those are not ones that we currently have on our roadmap. But if you want to, we can discuss those. But let us know, and we can have a conversation about those. Okay, next question. Let's see. Are you planning to have a fully integrated plugin for Illustrator as well? So the good news is, yeah, as soon as we finish this Photoshop one and we find success there and we understand this, one of the key things with the Illustrator piece is the reason we prioritize Photoshop first, it was built on Adobe's new UXP platform. And this is a new development platform that makes it easy to build plugins and to release plugins out. And it's a really great development platform. And they've been slowly migrating their apps to this new UXP platform. And we've been waiting for Illustrator to be moved over to UXP before we make that migration, so that we can work with this newer later code that they've released. So that's essentially what we're waiting for. We may, if they don't have it that prioritized anytime soon, then we'll be looking to potentially build a different version of the integration, a different way, using their existing stuff. Let's see. We can probably take another question here. Let's see. Is there any other ones? I think so. Any plans regards to Google Suite integrations? So this would specifically would mean maybe Google Drive. I would imagine you mean. So yes, we have looked at Google Drive integration, and this is something we want to build. It's on our roadmap to build. This would be allowing you to, and the key thing here with the Google Suite stuff is they don't have like their own, I guess, JSON export that we can use an API to like pull content out for a file and put it back in, for example. So everything that you want to do from a translation perspective needs to go through their Microsoft conversion process, where if you export out, you get a Microsoft Office document and you translate that. So that's the same via API as well. So there's some difficulties with that and some expectations we need to work around there. But yes, we will be looking to build a Google Drive integration in the future. And that's it for us today. I wanted to thank you all for joining us. Exciting to be here with you. And Dmitry, do you have any last comments?
No. Yeah, good to see you, and probably let's continue in the networking room.
All right. We'll meet you all in the networking room soon. Thank you very much, and have a great day.